everybody, it is Cinnamon Queenie, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how you can paint these adorable dandelions like really big and some ladybugs and a fuzzy bee step by step in acrylic paint. To help me do this is my husband John.
Hello.
We're going to be doing this on a 16 by 20 canvas with the materials that you saw on the materials screen. I'm kind of excited and nervous about today because it's our last 2 hoot painting. So we rate, if you're brand new here, we rate our paintings in 1 hoot, 2 hoot, and 3 hoot levels, which is basically level 1, level 2, level 3, but funner. And we're going to stop all that and we're going to go back to the beginning of our roots, and we're going to go back to beginners. All for Novice November. We're all in November. We're going to go back to 1 hoot concepts, and we're going to just reboot it all.
Get it going.
Recap, re-go over, get everybody back on board. If you've been on the fence about painting, watch this video, kind of get to know who I am. And then if you're like, man, I'd like to paint like that, you come do this with me in November. It's free. It's free. It's going to be there for you. And you come back out of the end of November, you'll be able to do this painting, no problem. So if you're my on the fencers, brand new painters, who are just listening to me and you're on the fence, this is your moment.
This is it.
Okay. But today, for everyone who comes and shows up week to week to week, all of our painters who've been with us for a minute, it's a 2 hoot painting today. Hoot, hoot. Hoot, 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 hoot. 16 by 22 hoot painting. It's going to be really gorgeous. And I think a lot of fun, guys. I think we're going to have a lot of fun putting it together. It's going to be super duper cute on your wall.
Yeah.
Babe, how are you today?
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah. I'm kind of excited to get us going, get started on this.
We didn't text because we're saving our text for the big course. I'm going to be real honest. I'm hoarding them. Hoarding.
But we're going to be
another picture text. All right. So you guys saw the materials at the beginning, but to start, we're going to be going phthalo blue, titanium white, phthalo green. John's going to put up step 1.
Oh, okay.
During the video, you're going to see us put up steps, and then you're going to see the canvas disappear and come back. We're taking a picture of it. And what ends up happening at the end of the video is those steps all get time-stamped and explained what they are, so you can find your spot again. And those become chapters to a mini book that all those pictures go into. That's what? How much to download? Oh, yeah, free. It's free to download.
For free. What you doing?
Because we're like that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
What you doing?
So in our ladybug loveliness, we've got to do a background, and it's kind of a nice kind of blendy, foldy background. So you know what I'm going to use?
What's
Big
that?
cutter brush. Cutter brush is an artist word for a house brush.
Yeah.
It's really just a house brush. These are not. These are artist tools, but it's a lot like what you're familiar with a house brush. I'm going to get this barely wet, this cutter brush, because it's got hog bristles instead of synthetic. And I'm going to start to load in some white. Getting that all loaded into my brush. What you're going to see me doing is I get just the smallest amount of water. The hardest part of using these brushes is just really controlling my water. And I'm going to get some blue into here. Look at us get some blue. And I'm going to come here. Oh, better pull down my splatter guard. Oh, you did the thing where the thing is loose again.
Did I?
Yeah.
I did it. I think what it is that I did not tighten it.
That's it. You didn't tighten it. You can see that this just really paints the surface really fast. Sometimes having a big brush helps you.
I'm going to come get that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to come here in the corners and maybe get a little more blue paint. Not a lot. You can see it's what we call a smidge. It's when I sneak up on the edge of my paint and go a little bit. And then I go another little bit. I just want to have some, maybe more focused blue. Couple of places. If you're having any trouble getting the paint to blend, you just get a little water into it, come back into your white. There you go. And just paint right around your husband. Ignore him entirely. Your co-host, team captain, whatever he's going through, he's just got to work it out while you paint. It's super fun. Try it with me. If you painted with me for a while, you know, like I keep going even if Twix visits me or one of the kids needs a hug or whatever we have going on. Or John leaves with my painting.
That's not it. There it is. I found a problem.
You can see the other reason we're not talking about how we built this yet. Because we're still working out the logistics of it. That's what you do. You just keep going, right?
That's, oh, I don't like that.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. I enjoy that positioning right there. Okay. Oh, it's much tighter, yeah. So John is just making sure that my easel is stable and not moving on me a whole bunch. Not that I can't paint on it, because clearly I can, but it does definitely help when you are painting to have things be a little more still. Now again, we're going to add a little of our phthalo green. So we had our phthalo blue, phthalo green. We're going to add a little bit of our phthalo green. And the lower half of our canvas is going to be this minty phthalo green. When you add just white to phthalo green, it goes like full like 1950s mint on you.
So I'm just going to point out, if there ever was a living embodiment of the adage, the show must go on, it's you and Lucille Ball.
What? We teach painting here. Can't slow down for that. You're at home painting along with me. We do this for real. All right. So I'm going to just, you can see controlling my water here a little bit, coming in and getting a little more white. The reason you see me moving along quickly is because acrylic paint blends really well when it's wet. And I do want a blue and green here, kind of end of year kind of thing going on. But I want to have enough contrast so that when I get up into my painting, it's a lovely ombre. If you're having trouble getting your blend, you can take a second brush. I recommend an oval mop, and you can always go through, and where the paint is wet, you can soften anything you have going on again. So there's always a way to do that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you don't leave it to have paint dry on it, ruins brush. And I'm going to rinse out my cutter brush, and we're going to call this a step.
All right.
I know that was fast. And
That was
fun.
well,
and adventurous.
it was definitely an adventurous step.
It's an adventurous step. We adventured with you into the thick of it. Into the thick of it. I'm fine. I have never sung well enough on this channel in the 7 years I have been on to ever get a content strike. I have a friend whose voice is so melodious that doing oral melodious. His voice is Todd Graham's melodic. Oh, really? That was a moment for me. Melodious. I think I have melodic. Anyways, Todd Graham, his beautiful lyrical voice. And he did spoken word of lyrics and got a content ID strike. I sing whole songs. The algorithm's like, yeah, you don't got to worry about it. We're going to let you have a complete pass. That's some pretty tragic singing there. It clearly hasn't infringed on anybody's copyright. You just think you're singing the song you think you're thinking, but you're not thinking it, singing it, and the machine knows you're not singing it and is now going to completely ignore you. John is drying the canvas, and for the next step, I highly recommend you dry your canvas thoroughly. And that's so that you can use your chalk tool to kind of sketch a few things out and know where some objects are. It's really helpful to have the paint be thoroughly dry and cool when you do any sketching, even with chalk. Because if the paint is warm or the paint is wet, the chalk can make a permanent mark into the paint, or the pigment of the chalk can get into the paint, into the soft paint, and leave a mark that you have trouble getting rid of. So it's really, really good. I think I can pull this back up so my set is pretty. Oh no, it says no. It says no. It says no. There it goes. Now it says yes. Pretty pictures. Yay. Okay. So blue at the top, green at the bottom, right? Blue at the top, green at the bottom. You can come through. Where did my Dritz chalk tool go? Oh, I had one. Like right here. I put it here. I did not have the Dritz chalk tool in my hand. What did I do with it? You know what? That's okay. You use chalk, I will use paint, because I'm crazy like that. No, I'd really love to have chocolate. Is it in there? Nope, that's a watercolor pencil, but that's always good to have around. Do you? Good. So John is looking for a tool that tailors use that has, it's not there, has chalk in it. It has little tubes of chalk in it like a mechanical pencil. And this particular chalk by Dritz doesn't have wax, doesn't have oils, doesn't have grease because it's for clothing, which means that it exits your canvas very easily and you can remove it with a damp brush.
Wait, are we on step 2?
We are in step 2.
Didn't tell. Oops, step
2. You're going to love it too. Step 2.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So we have these big, beautiful flowers, and we want to kind of talk about how much space do these take up. So I'm going to make some ovals to let myself know where my little flowers might go. I have a little friend here, and I think I'm going to counterbalance that stem. Right? And we'll say, well, that's a nice little big flower. And then over here, the third flower, who has a stem kind of coming over this way. Coming in. Now I also have a ladybug. Ladybug. Mr. B. And when I know where all that is, that's going to let me start to rough it in. So I think you're good here. I'm not going to call it a whole step. We will on the very beginner's course. Everything is a step in the beginner's course. But for here, you guys kind of know you're sketching it in. You want to have an oval at least the size of your hands in these 3 locations. This oval is kind of at like almost a horizontal, but with a little kit to it. This one's much more diagonal, and this one is very diagonal, right? And that's the scale. Bigger than my hand. This one is much bigger than my hand. These 2 are about the size of my hand. Now, to begin this, we're going to kind of rough that paint in, and I'm going to take a round brush. So easy to do a round brush. I'm going to take a big round brush. This is a number 8 black pearl round. I'm going to add some yellow to my palette. Ah, yellow. You kind of knew yellow was coming. I'm going to add some green to my palette. And I'm going to put in stems and background grasses. I'm going to get my brush wet. And let's take a little bit of our phthalo green burnt sienna and load it and mix it together. See how we're grabbing it and mixing it together on the brush and load it so it's going to be able to make nice little grasses. And let's say that we've got some focused grasses. That's going to be a very important blade of grass.
Mm.
The grass will be more shapely at the tip, and the blade will get wider at the base. This is a bit like Honey and Shrunk the Kids.
Ah.
Right? We got to think about the focus of some of this. Not every blade of grass do we have to think about this specifically, but you're going to want to have some of them that are kind of detailed. Burnt sienna, phthalo green on the tip of a brush. You can see when I want to widen the stroke, I just press down on that brush stroke. Melodious, not a word, I guess. Now I'm going to Google that too.
Well, I'm not going to stand on my high D average as a English student, so... But I don't think melodious. Maybe.
I think it was, but
Could be.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Look, like I said, I'm a high D student, so.
Some of these little blades of grass we'll want to have a little bit shorter.
Let's see what the internet. Internet will always tell me I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, the internet's very informative and sharing oriented.
It's super supportive when you've made a mistake.
Yep, it wants to help you. Know that
Rosie
you've made a
says
mistake.
melodious is a word.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not saying that like I'm gonna tease John forever, but
Why is the music on? I don't know. Oh, sorry. It must have been slow background. I just didn't hear it, Robin.
Did we have music the whole time?
There for a little while, we guess we did the low background.
Oh, I'm very sorry for that. That's a goof, John.
I did not know that.
How did we end up with music on there? We don't normally have music, guys.
Because the reason we
do
did
for
that,
time-lapse videos where music is helpful to view it.
well, what happened is that this time we didn't have a time-lapse pre-recorded intro.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to have music in the intro,
Oh, was it the Heart Party song?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was just really softly playing in the background.
It's
Now-
going to make a bunch of people like super crazy, like, I think I'm hearing things.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what it'll be, so I turned it off.
Yeah.
So, Irene, you probably didn't hear it because you didn't have the music, or you didn't have the volume up loud enough. It was really quiet. It was, but it was there. So, if you had your speakers turned up a lot, or you're on a big screen TV, you may have heard it playing quietly in the background, going, "Am I just hearing things, or is?" Nope, it was it. So, thank you, Robin.
I'm making sure that I have nice little brush strokes, the beginnings of which, if you did the daffodils with me, you kind of know where we're going. You're like, oh, I really like that daffodil course. You recognize that you are here again. Oh, yay, daffodil days. So you'll find that burnt sienna, phthalo green, certain colors are kind of transparent. And this layering process that we're doing helps whether you're painting with economy paints or pro paints, because it really just addresses the transparency of the pigment. We're making brush strokes from the bottom up to the top. The beginning of the stroke, I have the most pressure, and then as I flick up, I release it. That's kind of how we get a real basic kind of grass stroke. The other thing you're seeing me doing is that some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. We have some real variance here. And the original here that I did as a digital collage and painting.
Mm.
Just to make sure that I've got stuff that nobody could license behind me. I'm like, getting that original work out there for you guys. No references. But my own. So as we're going, you can see we've got kind of like that dark green.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want you to come in now with some yellow and a little more of the phthalo green. And paint half of this little blade. And then I'm going to come in and definitely paint half of this little blade. I'll stop at this stem and come back. Just kind of giving them some form and some shape. There we go. Just adding colors. 2 tones. Some value.
Multi-tone.
Multi-tonal grass. It's always great grass. I can also come in and come over some of this grass, creating another layer of the green.
Now, Kathy was asking, do you paint around the sides? And if you do, what color? And
So on this one, if I were to paint the sides, I would just continue the light blue through the midway around the edges and the green around the edges and bottom. I tend to paint around the sides if the stretchers are much thicker, because those are actually called gallery wrap and they're made to not be framed. These are made to be framed. So it's really just a preference. If you're framing your artwork, you want to just paint it around the edges enough so the framer isn't struggling. If you're just hanging it on your wall raw, you want to paint around the edges so you have nice edges. Just for your preference. Just for what you want.
So if you had a really nice background that you were happy with, could you, and you wanted to like hedge your bet, so to speak, could you practice this like on a piece of paper before you got into your background?
Yes. I would practice all of it on a piece of paper if you were not yet sure of it. Not to toot the horn of November, but we're actually going to have courses on practice.
And why that's
before we even do our 10 first paintings, we're going to do brushstroke and technique practice. So you're going into stuff with practice pages so you can warm up, so you have a place to work it out before you get in your painting.
Dee Dee's very happy about the art love in the dandelions.
There's so much art love in the dandelions.
In with the bees.
And the bees. The bees and the ladybugs. Right now, if you're wondering why ladybugs at this time of year, Art Sherpa, well, they're all over my bathroom, and I keep having to set them free.
It's
they're
that
everywhere.
time of year.
They are. They're everywhere. Now, when I get that green going, I want another level of green. So I'm going to come over here to my yellow. Right, I'm going to get a little white into it. And so I'm making a kind of yellow green that's quite light. And I'm adding just a little bit of edging of this light color. Isn't that nice? Some contrast. Just a little bit. Nice, bright, lemony green.
It really is.
And then rinse out. And you're going to do a cool thing. You're going to go back to your green and burnt sienna. Add a little yellow into it. You want your green and burnt sienna, that dark first color. And really get some contrast going. Right? Because you can always come back and put in those shadows. We did that a little bit in yesterday's very complex landscape painting. Where we added some shadow back in, didn't we? To strengthen the value. So even though this is a 2 hoot, which means it's going to be about less than 2 hours, fingers crossed, and less colors, less techniques than, say, a 3 hoot. Not the 1 hoots, they're coming. Those are so easy. And look at that. We got some like defined little grasses happening.
It's true.
You can come in. Sometimes I'll come in and make sure that the base here is green. See what I'm doing? That's just to make sure that, you know, if you're going to frame it or do anything, if you're not going to paint the edges, that just makes sure that the base looks really good. It is okay that little bits of canvas or blue or things show through. They don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. That isn't a requirement of painting. You can always make blades artful if you want. Coming on the tip. Okay, let's call this a step, and then we're going to start in on the next step.
Ooh.
Wooty woot, woot, woot.
I'll come over and get that.
Doesn't really have to be dry. It can be dry, but it doesn't have to be dry on this one. So in the next one, we're going to create some high contrast stems and bases for our dandelions. And we're going to start putting in some of the raw kind of shaping of everything. On this, you just want to kind of enjoy your raw shaping. Try not to get drilled into what you perceive as every mistake that you've made. It's real easy when you're painting a lot of blades of grass to focus on one blade of grass that you feel is off, that you feel is super obvious, that you feel is just going to be something everybody sees, because it's very likely that what you are seeing and focusing on, nobody else would even notice, especially in a field of brushstrokes like grass brushstrokes. So be sure that if you're feeling that anxiety and you're feeling that worry, like that there's some brushstroke or there's something just not perfect, back up across the room from your canvas a little bit. Take a look from far, far away. Take a look from far, far away.
We have
one
more thing. There we go. A step.
A step. I'm going to put some black out. Fun fact, yellow and black make green.
That's
a very
super
deep
weird.
Green, but they make green. And on this, we really want to have some contrast that we build from. So I'm going to take my black and a little yellow, and I'm going to mix them together. And I'm going to plant, maybe coming from like right here, a dandelion. I'm going to widen the step, the top of this where the flower is going to attach to. I'm still using my round. Right. I can always come in with a dark color. And I'm going to come in and sort of blend into the grass. Can you guys see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be everywhere. We're just giving it a blend. And then we come out and make little S's. It's sort of part of the stem. This stem is going to go in front of those other grasses. Those are kind of in the background. If I want to make this a deeper green, I can just go deeper into black. That's called, when you add more black to something, you're shading it. If you add gray to it, we would be toning it. White, we would be tinting. Sometimes you'll hear those words, and that's what they mean.
Tint, tone, shade.
Mm-hmm. And again, I like to blend with a little bit of these blades too. Just so that they are included in what we're seeing, here. Dandelions, before they turn into puffs, right? They have these little yellow flowers.
They disappear like.
They do. It's really interesting. I watched a bunch before I did this. Oh wait, yellow. I watched a bunch of time-lapse videos of dandelions growing, just so I could feel like, oh yeah, I really looked at that.
Yeah, it's really hard to find like them mid puffing. They're most of it transforms from beautiful little yellow flower to puff ball like in a blink of an eye, just like it sneezed and puffed.
You see, we're just building that little shape. It's like a little bell at the end of the stem. Right? Little bell at the end of your stem. Sometimes I'll come back with a little bit of black just tinted with some yellow. Make sure that I've got nice value happening here. Now I'm going to dry at my easel because I want this to be dry for the next layer. We're just continuing on and getting these stems fully painted before we start to put in the flowers. So for this next technique to work, I want it to be dry. But it's not a new step.
Not a new step. We're just going to let her dry that surface. And yeah, I'll say that if you guys would like to be signed up for the text message notifications, you find the button. There it is. Send the message, the Art Sherpa, and send it to the phone number 33222. Now, in the future, we're going to be changing that. So stay tuned to our website for also another way of signing up with text messages. But
oh, you're doing text messages?
Just letting them know.
Oh, that's always good. All right.
We're going to be
yeah, we're going to be doing more and more. A lot of my yellow into my black. Maybe even some white. Adding some little highlights to the stems. Just pulling in, like I use the tip of the brush to help me. And then let's come down here. And make little kind of segmented little stripes there. And a little bit of that color, a little bit into this area in the grass. All right, we'll just carry it through. We'll rinse out. I've got my phthalo green and my cad yellow.
Ooh, that's pretty.
And add a little bit of pop there. And a little bit of highlight on that leaf. You're just kind of finding little moments. There's a lot of yellow flower going on. So much of that is going to just sort of distract. And yellow. And the green. I'm going to get it thinned with a bit of water. So I dip my brush in and I swirl it around. That's going to improve the flow of the paint off my brush. If you have craft paint, you might not need to do that. is it's already kind of thinned. Maybe a little black in there, kind of mix those three together.
Mm.
Very light.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Jenna would like to know, will Novice November have a class on American Thanksgiving?
Not specifically. All the classes will be kind of neutral, kind of. So here's what we have: students from all over the world, and we have people from all different kinds of backgrounds. So I wanted this course to be friendly to everybody, no matter your walk of life.
Right.
We always have holiday paintings. I love holiday paintings, and we're definitely going to do some holiday paintings this year, just generally. But this probably will be like the core 10 easy paintings that are going to get you to your next 30.
Right. And
right.
Yeah, so I don't think that we're going to have it fall, a release probably won't fall on
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving holiday.
Oh, is that
here.
what we were asking? I might
That's
have
the
misunderstood.
question.
Okay, yeah, no, it's here's what. The goal is I'm working the schedule out now. The goal is to have you guys showing off and being thankful by Thanksgiving.
And the question that I think Cinnamon was answering was, we tried to choose, or I should say Cinnamon tried to choose and make sure that all of the content was available to everyone in all walks of life. So we chose content that was very easy, no matter what your background is. Is that right?
Yep.
So.
Yep. No matter who you are, no matter where you live, no matter your age, this will be stuff that's relatable, is not in any way. It's just very, it's beautiful and it's uplifting and it's warming. It's heartwarming. It's all heartwarming. That's what it all has together. Is it's all heartwarming.
Yeah.
And charming and makes you feel good and safe. But really, these are 7 classes that teach you the prime core skills. 3 of them are informational. They're real short. They're informational. And then 3 of them are technique based so that you can do the 10 paintings at the end of it. If you've been on the fence, you will no longer be on the fence. You may have painted a fence, but you will no longer be on the fence.
Yeah, but we'll figure
about painting it all. Let's call this a step.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you check on the schedule, it will be updated. I put up. It looks like they're going to look like live streams, and so basically how it's going to go is we're going to have a live stream, but it's not live. It's pre-recorded, and then immediately after, we're going to have a Q&A that we'll do over on Facebook. And everything, if you go to that first class, every place you have to be, all your dates and times, all your materials, and how to get everything is that first syllabus class. And then Tuesday, boom, it starts. And it's boom, 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 boom. And you'll see all the dates scheduled out. But if you hit that first video that says intro, it will fold you into everything else. And the reason I'm putting nothing else on the calendar and the reason that we're using the live stream system is so that you guys have a shelf where all the courses are together. And whether you're on mobile or desktop or whatever device that you're on, Roku, it all surfaces the same way. And so that way we realized with Premiere, it doesn't necessarily all surface the way you want it to, but with the live system, I can control how it surfaces. So definitely, we're using that, but they are going to be like 20, 30 longest classes in the 40-minute range.
So now we're on a step 4.
On to step 4, add some more green to your palette, friends.
All right.
Add some more green to your palette. Because, and this is important sometimes, we need to do some of the leaves that are maybe a little kind of jaggedy and pointed. And you guys know those leaves. We need to have a couple of those that might be coming forward. So I'm going to take a little of my green and brown, my burnt sienna and my phthalo green. I might even get some black into it just to deepen it. right? And then we're going to make a little point. Come back in. Curve out, come back in. See how we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Just a dandelion leaf. You know how they have weird shapy leaves?
Yes.
They're super sharp. And supposedly good for your health. We want to make sure that we've got at least a couple of that shape in there. So it's like a little half moon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to come down. We don't need too many of them, but you just want a few that look like they're showing out. You can see them just... This is the thing where I think I'm going to use a bunch of brushes and then I get into one brush and go that one brush that whole class, isn't it? Oh, I'm really excited for Saturday. I cannot wait to share. If you go by, you're going to get a newsletter. If you're in the newsletter, you'll get the newsletter. There's events already posting on Facebook to help you find that. I've created a page. You're going to be able to see it happen, come together really like boom, boom, boom. I am not going to hide it from you. Put one right here. And you can get a little brown, a little green. Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
Mm.
Weird jaggedy leaves of dandelions.
Oh, man. So I'm going to just pass along a lot of thanks from everyone who...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they appreciate... And Brittany and a bunch of other folks here were saying how much they appreciated you doing these step-by-steps because it really helps them understand.
How it comes together.
Yeah.
I think it does help. I think it helps all of us when we get to put them together like this. We get to see,
Whoops.
you know, what the process is.
So Melissa was asking, do others need to paint with white or yellow first, or is it just my paint?
Many people need to, but it is the paint that's causing it. Now, all yellow is transparent, but as you save money on your paint, sometimes how the manufacturer gets that cost down is with the quality and coverage of the pigment.
Yeah.
So it can get really problematic in some lines. And it's really line by line. I can't even say it's just student paint because it's not just student paint.
No.
Some brands are worse than other brands. I really like my little dandelion leaves. And notice that we have a lot of greens.
Yeah.
Right? We're not struggling to find many different greens. One of the things I find is really mentally hard for new painters is how to deal with all the different greens. If you have a green on green landscape, where it's like green, 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 green.
Now, if you wanted to get the newsletter,
Yeah, you better explain that. I'm not as good at explaining it as you are.
join our website. Go to theartsherpa.com, and if you are a member of the website, you should be getting newsletters. If you're not, you can check in your settings and communications, or email support@theartsherpa.com, and we'll help you.
We will always help you. I'm adding little kind of like implications that maybe these are sticking out a couple places. Not too defined, just a little bit here and there. You like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so those look pretty good. And they're looking pretty sharp. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back into my white and get into my kind of a lighter value of that. Add some water to it. That's the leaf color we've been doing. And then we're going to very gently that looks pretty good, doesn't it? A little value of a stem coming down.
Yeah.
Now I might come in and get a little of my burnt sienna and my phthalo green and add some more cad yellow to my palette.
Yeah.
I'll put it over here. It's going to be, November's going to be primaries. Primary colors.
Now, what does that mean for the beginner who is not knowing what paint to buy?
Well, we're getting that. It means come to the intro class so we can explain what that means for you.
Oh,
Specifically.
it's a pretty good answer. You're going to have a video that explains the basics of the basics.
I am.
So, like, if I didn't know what the difference between primary red...
We're making a light green and adding it on top of the leaves, if you guys can see this.
Versus primary red split... Or versus a split primary red.
Yeah. We're not doing a split primary. We're doing just primary red, primary yellow, primary blue. There are some companies that put together sets that are primaries already put together for you.
Mm-hmm.
White and black. We're adding this little highlight inside the leaves, and you can see that just really exaggerates our dandelioness, doesn't it? A little more yellow into it. A little more drama.
There's some camera drama.
Was there camera drama?
It's fast camera.
So, there we go. Now we have leaves. Leaves, 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 leaves. Don't leave them on the ground. Look at our drama leaves.
Ooh, those are very nice.
Ooh, they're very nice. They're very big. They're very pretty. Very simple, two little leaves. Happy, happy, joy, joy. So yesterday, crazy, crazy landscape. We got deep into it. Today, a little bit lighter with our flowers. A little bit more about being a little mellow, being a little joyful, being a little whimsical. I think it's important to have whimsical things on your wall because the things that we hang on our wall help frame our experience, help set our mood. If you have beautiful art on your walls, it's like having a beautiful view out your window. It just lifts your spirit. So I think it's important to think about what we paint and what we bring into our home. I think sometimes art is great for therapy or for processing, but not everything that is therapeutic, do we want to hang on our wall? It's just something to think about because you might not think about that. You might be like, well, I painted it, should go on my wall. So I painted some paintings I did not want on my wall. They did not go there. No, they did not, sir. I'm going to need a coffee heat up and 2 fresh waters when you get a chance. And I'm putting it, I think, here, I don't know if you can reach them with your long, long arms. Okay. You get a child? I'm going to put out a little cad red and a lot more cad yellow, and I have some white out. So we're going to at first kind of just make sure that we can get the shape and feeling of our overall dandelion. And we're going to talk about sometimes that you need to kind of work a thing out in white first and then paint over it with yellows if your yellows are very transparent. So I'm going to come over here and pull all my white over. I'm going to get my brush wet into it. It's all right if I add a little yellow to this white. Right? What I'm trying to do is create, again, a basis. And I'm going to make little brush strokes kind of coming in. They're going to curve towards the left when they're on the left-hand side until they get to this middle point. Curve towards the right, same thing until they get to the middle point. And again, we've added a little white so that when we go over it in a minute, Now, as I come out, they're going to level out. Can you guys see them leveling out? Now, as it comes down, guess what? Those little petals can come down a little bit. Oh no. Sorry, I did not know.
I did not know either. I was
Step in it. This is the other reason why pre-recorded is sometimes helpful for you guys, because we work all this stuff out in the not live. It's like acrylic April, if you want to know what I mean. We work it all out. Oh, by the way, if you do November with me, you will be able to face the acrylic April challenge with a lot more confidence and ability. This is the bridge that I found people needed to be able to do acrylic April. And if you don't know what acrylic April is, it's where I have my community paint with me every day for a month. Because that's what they need to do. And continue to pull this forward. So you can see that I'm curving those down. They get a little shorter as they're in the forward side. And here's where you can see that a little white paint might be necessary to really see over the green, isn't it?
Wow, that's a pretty impressive dandelion.
It's the start of it. It's the beginning, right? You know where it is now, and you can see where it's showing up. The white helps the coverage. Now this is a really fun one because it's very kind of bowl-shaped or cup-shaped. When I come over to the far right, I'm going to make sure that I've got some little spindles that are sort of bending back. They want to do that sometimes. And then we're going to pull this in, coming back. Again, on the left-hand side, it's going to be a little curved to the left. It straightens as it comes towards the center. Boom, curves over to the right. Let's go. I'm on the right camera. All right, I'm still getting more of the same color. Okay, so they've got a palette view. Okay, good deal. I love it when you do that. Over here, kind of the same thing. We start to curve these brush strokes. When they're towards the left-hand side left, straighten them as they go across. Made my flowers a little bigger. That's okay. Sometimes that happens. If I need more white, I'll get more white into it, which I do. What this tells me, even as I lay this out, if I want this flower to be in front of this flower, I'll paint this flower completely last. They're going to come, oh, okay, what? All right, and then we're pulling this in. So we have the basis of just the shape of the flowers. These forward-facing petals will be shorter. These back petals will be longer. And then, of course, we'll have the little layers in, but we'll get all that with value. You can always kind of put some more yellow in the center of your dandelions at this stage. That's pretty awesome. Now, these will need to be dry, and we'll need to think about the order of operations. This dandelion is the furthest back, so we paint it first. Then we paint this dandelion and this dandelion. We could paint the ladybug at any time, but we'll save it to the other ladybug because that's when we'll be mixing those colors. And again, the bee can be painted at any time. And the reason this ladybug and this bee can be painted is because they're not touching anything. But it is still better to paint the ladybugs together, since then you'll be in congruent colors.
Makes sense.
I'm going to dry. You want to dry it or I'm going to dry it?
Is this a step?
It's a step.
Then I'll try it.
It's a step. They got to get this basic shape in. And then what's going to happen is sort of a magic trick about flower painting. And it's weird because whether you're painting a very serious floral or you're painting a very expressive loose floral, similar principles work across all of those things. So getting the core concepts allow you to continue to grow that skill and continue to move forward. Understanding how you curve a petal, it's meaningful on a rose, it's meaningful on a cherry blossom, it's meaningful on a daisy. Knowing that those petals in a bowl are going to curve left or curve right or straighten out or shorten an arc as they come towards us, once you start to see it, you'll see it everywhere. It's a little bit like the Matrix. Once you see it everywhere. You see it, you'll be looking at flowers, you'll be looking at everything, and you'll be seeing it everywhere. I'm going to have John also find some questions from you guys. Since it's our last chance to chat like with each other in this way for a while, but understand, even in November, we're going to have the courses. The course will direct you where to go next. We're going to have Q&As right after. It'll happen over on Facebook. And unlike Acrylic April, consistently through, because you guys are going to need the consistent support. So it won't be like sometimes. It'll be like all the times. All the times. All the times.
Now
we know. Forever. You want to give a question? I'm going to drink Miss Coffee question. Anybody?
Step.
It's a step it also question.
The step is, we asked about, do I need to paint the white before the yellow? I think you may have gotten this. There's no class on, there's a bunch of.
Yeah, just ask me anything.
Ask me anything.
How do you bake bread? I don't know, with a bread machine.
There is hair dryer or cool setting. Okay,
I do like to keep my hair dryer in a cool setting. Some paints, not all acrylic paint, color shifts. And that means that as the paint dries, it gets darker. The better the paint, the less color shift. Some colors are more likely to do it. Some paints are really sensitive to it. And acrylic paint is very sensitive to temperature in a weird way. So it's a plastic polymer, right? So it's warm, it kind of opens up. And it can, in some paints, make the color shift worse, in my experience. Not all paints, just some of them. And significantly enough where you think you have a green and then you come back later and you have a brown. So if you've had that experience, that's what's happened to you. If you think you're painting one color when it's wet and you come back and it's like you have a different painting, color shift. You need to change brands. What's up?
Okay. Lemon question about the water we clean our brushes is it better not to put it down your pipes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you know how in your water cup, the paint sinks to the bottom?
Yeah.
It kind of has a sediment. So when you put it down your pipes, it does that too. And then if it sinks and it dries, then it starts to coat your pipes. Right? And if you're painting cadmium, that's into the water supply and into that. What do you do about that, right? Because you're like, man, I don't want to have to like put out hyacinths and clean my water. There's a bunch of things you can do. There's tricks with kitty litter where you reclaim it with kitty litter, straw, and crash solids. So there's a lot of ways to do that. Or if you have a better, safer disposal of it. Once it's dry, it's pretty inert, but in that wet state, it can cause some trouble. A little bit. Don't put it down your best sink.
It's, yeah.
Don't put it down the good sink, as my mom learned.
Now, zodiac gnomes.
Yes.
When will we see more on the zodiac gnomes?
Probably once we get everybody through these one hoot things, I will, here's what. They're going to happen. I have designed them. I want them. I've got a book for them. I want to make stuffies. Why are we doing zodiac gnomes? I want stuffies.
There's a zodiac plan, but what happened is the zodiac plan keeps getting upset by things like YouTube. Mostly YouTube. There's been some YouTubery that we'll have to explain later. But they're there, and I mean, if I have to give them to you in some weird location, you will get them. Let me get through November, and then it's going to help us have more people who come back and paint the gnomes with us, because they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I can paint that gnome!" Right? Because we're going to have a bunch of new people coming through who got some fresh, itchy painting skills that they want to use and test out. So I'm going to have to not hit them with the 3 hoots coming right out of November. You'll get some 3 hoots in December, but we don't want to hit them so hard that they're like, what? All right.
We might have to do 12 days or something just to give them a space. Now, order of operations, John.
Yes.
Back petals.
Dear Aunt Sally.
Center petals, right? And then coming forward into
That's a
you know,
different.
and being able to layer. So how we get the separate petals is a lot of times value, like being able to see the value of something coming in with highlights. So you could do a little black into your yellow, but I'm going to actually kind of use red to keep it bright.
Huh.
To deepen my yellow. Could use black. You know, and even from here you could add a little black, but I'm going to just see if I can't get myself there with the red. Let's come to the back. Not too much red, right? This is cad red, cad yellow, just enough. We want it still to feel yellow, but we need to make some value. You can be very playful with these petals. I've just ended up using one brush. Did not see that coming today. I thought I was going to have a whole bunch of brushes. Nope.
You just
Not a whole bunch of brushes.
the one brush to paint them all.
It is a bit of a Lord of the Rings day today, isn't it?
When is it not, honestly? I mean, just...
I'm going to come in here and make sure the center, and I will fluff it out, but I want to make sure that the center is a little bit darker so we have that to layer up. Twixie, not right now. I'm just doing flowers. 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 You go see Daddy. That's a good plan. So I'm going to continue to come like kind of here. And even though I've got the forward petals, I want to make sure that they've got a little bit of depth. So if I come back with a very bright yellow, it's really going to show. So if you see here, I've got this kind of rough edge, right? And I have a little bit of depth there with my red. Could do it with brown, could do it with black.
Oh.
But I think that you'll find in something like this, you'll be happier if you create the deep flower with a red. Now, here. So you kind of see I have a little star effect in here in these deep petals. That isn't really for short petals yet. That's just to make sure that as I'm painting, I've got some depth. So let's dry it.
Yeah.
So what we do next, we'll go over the top of it. Not a new step, just the back flower.
Okay. So, as we have said before, don't use heat. Heat's bad for paint. It causes it to get sticky, tacky. Nobody likes tacky paint. Can cause it to do all sorts of things that's not pleasant, so don't use heat.
Right. For many paints, it's fine. The Golden is super offended. They're like, our paint does not do that. And we're like, I know, your paint does not do that. But some paints.
But not all of our students use golden.
Right. So some paint really, really does do that. Now here we are into the yellow, yellow, yellow. Right. We got some yellow. And come into the back. And I might even tip my yellow, yellow, yellow with some white again. Back here, I'm going to come to the edge of these petals. See how I'm doing?
I do.
Just on the tip. Just not deep into it. That's the trick. You don't want to go deep. Then I'm going to come in with some strong yellow. You can have a little white in it too. See, it's this next layer. Shorter petals up front. Get a lot more paint on here.
That's interesting.
Shorter petals. There we go.
Mackenzie asked a very interesting question.
Hmm.
Why does adding water to slow dry blending medium make it stringy?
Are you talking about the Golden Artist Color Slow Dry Blending Medium or another brand? Golden, is it
I don't know.
Is it this one or a different one? Because I haven't had it happen with this one. So I have one answer if it's this one, and then another answer if it's another brand.
Jenna just asked her too. She was like, "What? What version are you using?" Because there's several.
Yeah.
Because it could be effective. So
Yeah,
we're
it
looking
really could. And honestly, all paint companies are not equal.
They are not.
They are not.
Very, very true.
Not equal. It's kind of a thing, and they're kind of a thing. I'm going to add a little white here. Keep going with my yellow. Now, I'm going to come in and get kind of a nice little light ducky baby yellow. Come to the tips of these petals. See how that helps you find them?
Mm. Yep. So, Mackenzie said Liquitex.
Yeah, well,
That's,
that is what it is.
And is that the new version or is it an older?
No, look, they haven't had a chance to reformulate yet, but give them a minute, they're gonna.
Yeah.
And you'll find. So here's what. I might have told you in the past, good luck, you can write them and see if it doesn't. Now I'm going to say to you, because I know something about it being under new management, write them, send pictures, and tell them your customer experience. It's going to move their reformulations along much quicker, and they're going to troubleshoot and probably do a rebrand and everything pretty soon. So now I would say write them. Tell them, take pictures. I just didn't know what we're allowed to say about what was going on, so I'm being evasive.
Oh.
Okay. Well, you hadn't told me, so.
What did I not tell you?
What if what's going on with Liquitex is public or not? So.
Oh, I don't think so.
There's
a bunch of stuff afoot with Liquitex.
So just write them at this stage.
Yeah.
Definitely let them know. I'm coming on the edges of these, and can you see how when we come on the edges of these, we start to get the dandelion, and that red starts to help us find. So it helps us start to find it. Now I'm going to come here, and these kind of curve like little commas, and then they come down. There's one that's almost facing me. See how it's almost like a little smile?
Mm-hmm.
And then a little bit of a curve here. More water on my brush. But I mean, scientifically, what you have a problem with is probably, and John can correct me, I think it's the rheology of it, of the medium.
Yeah. So I do believe that.
You bring some forward facing, kind of like pieced up. We know we're going to paint over some of these petals, right? But I want you to come in and get a lot of white here.
So yeah, a lot of those blending mediums have a limit on how much water they can take before they start to break down. So it's real important that you read the instructions on the side of the tube.
Yeah, it's why I just recommend that one brand.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, go to their website, call their support numbers.
Dandelion.
You'll get as much help as the company can provide you.
Yes, you will, and you deserve it because you spent your money on it, and they should help you. Do you like your dandelion?
I like the dandelion.
This is how it looks. It's kind of cool, big, isn't it?
Can I say?
It's a humble flower that paints beautifully on a big canvas.
That's a dandelion.
Dandelion. Guess what? Same thing. Other flowers. We'll call it a step, and then we'll do the other two. But same. It's gonna be same. The thing is we want this dry because this layer's on top of this. This one can be on its own, but these two are in front of this back one. My dandelions are very much the subject of this painting. And sometimes in art, taking something mundane or something that we see every day and we take for granted and reframing it in scale, which is what we're doing here, is we're making something small, very big, very, very big, compared to its real life size. And that act of making something larger kind of elevates it in our creative terms to fine art. Even though it's like a fun painting, that's what's happening there. So when you take something that's very, very small and you make it very, very big, or you take something that's regular size and make it larger than life, like a portrait, if you blow it up the size of a wall, that's very different than a well-painted portrait that's life size. It's a different feeling thing. So playing with scale is something that you can do as beginning artists. You don't have to be like way far in your art journey to do that. You could be like that gumdrop, those little gumdrops right there. Or I'm going to say another candy thing, jelly beans or crayons or things that are very regular, changing their scale and painting them big in a more focused way can make them really exciting in a new way. Twix says hi. Twix says hi. It was an extra rough day with Poppy. Extra rough. Extra rough. It was extra rough. See here, she's telling you it's extra rough. It's my painting. Do you like it? It's my painting. You like it? Is it good painting? Is it good painting? We'll have a cuddle after show, okay? We'll have a cuddle. All right. Steppy step. Put out more paint. Steppy step.
7 step.
7 step.
The most dangerous step.
We'll do these 2 flowers on the step 7. And then boom, we finish with the bugs and we're done. So there's just a few brush strokes, but really it's not too bad. Same. Little red into the mix, right? Just to deepen the yellow.
Now, while you're doing this, same.
Same.
Can you talk about the varnish ideas?
What about varnishing ideas?
What's the best brand of varnish to use, and should you varnish? When should you varnish? Is
so
there
I
a
have
varnish
videos
video?
about varnish,
Oh,
and I'm going to
that's
be
helpful.
redoing them, and here's my new position on varnish. You don't have to varnish with an acrylic painting. You can. The best varnishes are ones that are made for art. I have several that I like.
Recenter your canvas there. I didn't get
okay.
it. But sorry.
There are several that I like, but they're all like, they're the ones that even the Krylon artist varnish. All the ones that you see in the art store, if it says for acrylic painting, I like those. I prefer spray over brush on, but spray has VOCs that even I react to. John has to do it for me.
I'm VOC proof.
Brush on's a little more challenging because if you get streaks in it, it can remain streaky. You really just have to follow the instructions. Follow the instructions on whatever varnish you bought. Don't use floor sealant. Don't use resin. Don't use weird products. Like, just use something made for art. If you have any respiratory anything, all of the spray varnishes have a lot of VOCs.
And I have big masks that protect me from VOCs. They're active carbon. They're designed specifically to cancel out those VOCs and make it safe for you to breathe. And you can find those now much more abundantly due to some recent events. You can find these really good active carbon filters on. Amazon
and everywhere now.
Yeah, sometimes you can just find them, like walk into a gas station and find them. It's
so
strange.
If you guys remember, we're doing that brighter orange in that center, right, to build on.
Mm-hmm. But they say on the package that they're for painting and VOCs. They have big, and you know them because they have the big canisters on the side. So those are what you're looking for when you're painting. The more you know.
I could dry this right now, but what I could also do is come over and hit my other with the same values. Again, and we're just going to be using this to create that basis for which we'll put the bright yellows on it. But you'll see at this stage, this is the reason we have to do this one last, is because it's going to layer over its little friend here.
I see.
You guys remember which way the petals have to curve? They curve towards the right when you're going right. They're kind of straight when you're in the center, and they start to curve left as you go left.
Oh, to perspective.
Mm-hmm. To perspective. Now, out here, as we start to get to the level, right, you can even twist them back a different direction. Look at that. You can get playful.
That's pretty amazing.
Playful as you want. Coming and curving and then doing the short strokes there. All right, so now we have that basic form, but we also have the values so that when we put the bright yellows that there's some sort of shadow, and we've used red so that that's just a very warm glow. I'm going to come in here and get some yellow, a lot of yellow, some white, Just kind of highlighting the tips of some of these petals.
Mm-hmm.
Now in here, go a little more yellow. And they're a little bit thinner. I can add white if I want more contrast. Right, they're a little bit thinner. If you're not getting a nice layering effect, you may need to dry your canvas.
Are you getting a nice layering effect?
I'm happy. So I've got one more layer to do. So for where I'm at, I'm happy, and I'll probably dry for the last layer. I'm coming here and I'm creating this sort of shortened, curved petals. And go ahead and get a little shadow kind of red there, and I'm going to curve these around. Notice I'm just saying, hey, it's a little bit. There we go. So that's that next layer. Same.
Mm-hmm.
Same. So much same. Do all the same. Because it's so fun and easy. So I did this really interesting search online. I was searching dandelions just to see what was out there, right? No point in me doing what's out there a lot.
Right.
And one, I'll have to do a reaction video to some of the videos that I found. But what I really found was there's not a lot of how to paint the yellow flower in the dandelion. Everybody paints the puff.
Right.
So that really made me sort of excited to do this. You know, because I get to share with you something that, you know, is maybe new and exciting to you. Certainly was new and exciting to me.
You know, because as of right now, there's not a lot of these.
There's not a lot of these. And so, you know, I'm sharing something with you that you might be excited to learn about.
You know what I saw on your daily dose of internet?
What'd you see on your daily dose of internet?
That owl that liked to watch the bugs.
Oh, I love that owl.
And I've been thinking this would be his painting.
This would be that owl's painting. Now, to do the last little bit of highlights, I do want these forward-facing flowers dry, so I'm going to rinse out my brush, dry my canvas, and then put in those final little highlights. How's that sound?
Seems reasonable.
Doesn't it seem reasonable?
I don't know.
I feel like
It's your
it's
show,
super
though.
reasonable.
All right. So, then we're going to do some drying, and then, oh, yeah, all the humans out there, you do me a favor. Down in the book, in the things below the screen, there's an area with buttons. On those buttons, one that says subscribe. If you click it, then you'll get other videos from us. But in order to get all of them, you have to click that bell thing. And inside there, there's a little thing that says all. And if you click on that all button, then you get all the notifications.
You get all, and you get free classes.
And then the last human thing to do would be to hit the thumbs up thing.
Now we're going to hit those last highlights while you hit that thumbs up. And thumbs up for these last highlights, these last little touches that make the difference between, you know, paintings that don't look how you love and paintings that make you just feel like you're the best artist in the world. And you are. Just alternating between a little white and yellow, creating that last little kind of whoa. There you go. Don't they look good?
They do.
And you've got, again, that nice center.
Oh, it is.
Gonna make a similar deal here.
Mm-hmm. Gonna paint the flower pre-puff.
Pre-puff in the yellow.
And this is more of the same.
More of the same.
So
Just yellow and white, you know, and yellow. And we're capturing the tips of these little petals with a brush stroke, and that's how we're pulling them out from the mass. That's how we keep from having just a yellow blob.
well, while you're doing this,
While I'm doing this,
I'm going to say super big thank you to all the star senders and the super chatters and the emoji clubbers and the patrons and the people who've thumbed us up and shared and watched and commented. Thank you all. We really appreciate it. It's like you guys participating with us and playing with us and being here makes a big difference. So thank you.
Oh, and I have for November, I have a bunch of stuff for the patrons, so you guys don't worry. You guys are gonna get a special treat. Treat.
I like treats.
Treat.
Like
You're
a
gonna get
Scooby snack.
my past life book classes.
Oh. They get all those, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Ones that are, more than a year old. The ones that we're allowed to.
That's right. That's what patron benefit.
Patron benefit.
And patrons we're very blessed to have them among us. They're able to give beyond just their individual sort of enjoyment of the Sherpa, making it possible for all of us to have free videos.
Now I'm going to do a final touch here that I really like. I'm going to take a very thick application of yellow. And I'm going to come in and you can see I've just like very thick on my brush here in the center. Can you guys see that?
That's awesome.
And I'm going to put that a couple of places. Not everywhere. All right, see those layers? This is going to make your home painting gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your home painting will benefit. The layers is what helps your home painting. Look at that. All right, we're going to dry this thoroughly. That is some really gorgeous
Is it a step?
giant sunflowers. I'm going to call it a step, and then we can do ladybugs and bees.
Okay.
Ladybugs and bees. And Fuzzy Bee, you guys, if you've been with me for a minute, you know Fuzzy Bee is like one of my very favorite characters. I have been asked to do a realistic bee, and I heard it, and I hear you. I don't have one up that I have on the plans right now. If you really need a very realistic honeybee, my friend Angela Anderson just did one that's really gorgeous. And that's, I shout out Angela and my mom because my mom and then Angela and I are friends. But it was a really good realistic honeybee, and I don't have one imminently planned. So if you need that project like ASAP, this one, however, is going to be a super adorbs, fluffy bumblebee that I love to do. Because those are my favorite. Fluffy bumblebees. Just make my whole heart joyful and just so happy. So happy. So that's today. Fluffy bumblebees, kitty cat ladybugs, and I'll show you some tricks to get those reds to pop and get your ladybug to pop. And even though they're not going to be super hyper realistic constructed where you spend like hours in them, they're going to actually look very realistic on your canvas in the same way that the flowers do because of value and depth of painting and the fact that we don't skip layers. Sometimes you can speed a painting along by not having so many layers, but for stuff like this where they're really visually lush in this way, you really kind of want to give yourself a chance to put that paint in. And that could be a thing that's messing with you in your painting is you don't have enough color built up. You don't have enough depth of color in your process. And that might mean making you frustrated with your artwork. I'm watching John dry, but I'm also getting to see my dandelions from far away. And honestly, I kind of love them. I kind of love them. Painting, I did for myself. That you guys got to do with me. Painting, I did for myself. That you guys got to do with me. Okay.
Oh, wait. It's step 8.
Right. 8, let's make it a bee.
Let's
do the bee. Because there's just one bee, and it's kind of in the colors we already have out. And so that's very convenient for us.
All right.
All right. I may even, for a minute, pull out my grass comb or my grainer because it might be fun on the bee. You don't have to have that one, though. There it is, my grainer. This is a grainer. It's like a filbert who's like all pieced at the ends. You can kind of make these with scissors, but if you do, it does void the warranty on the brush. let's get a little bit of black paint. It starts with a little bit of black paint. And we have kind of a little bit of a face here. I'm on the toe of my brush. And I'm going to kind of sketch around. And it's true, I know I've got some eyes that I'm going to be doing, but I just kind of want to know where the positioning is on Mr. B. And he's sort of interesting because he kind of curls around. So there's a bit of a coming under the belly and then curling around and then having kind of a little cap there. You see him?
I see him.
All right. So first,
See the bee.
I'm going to go fluff, fluff. Oh, wait, I can do it with my, I'll do it with this and then I'll come back with my grainer. You can see that. You can do it with this one brush. I didn't know it was going to be one brush this painting, guys.
It's okay. I didn't know.
I did not get to pre-paint this one. I only got to do the digital sketch, and sometimes the digital sketches don't always tell me what's coming. Make sure that we've got a nice little bit of that. And the little fluffs, see the fluffs happening?
I do.
I can get a little bit of white. I don't mind if there's a little bit of blue, it's okay, whatever. No, the colors are, it's kind of a weird color I like to do for the wings. I've just gotten into my yellow. I like to sort of make them in motion. Do you see how I did that sketchy?
Yeah.
They come up, very loose, sketchy line. And kind of comes down, a little bit of a curve. And then some motion. And that starts to give that sense that the bee, the busy bee is flying. And then I kind of paint that in. Leave that where it is. And I'll show you why I thought I would use the grainer. I'm going to get a little bit of my yellow, and I'm getting my red into it. Mm-hmm. Kind of tapers here at the waist.
Yeah.
Isn't that cute? So cute.
So do you have any books for folks you recommend for who are learning to draw? What's that anatomy book you have?
No, I do, but actually, if I can, and correct me guys, and if the mods can find this, because I always say this wrong, I always say circle line draw, but maybe it's a circle line school. And he did a book, and Alfonso Dunn did a book, and I think those are some of the best books I've seen for drawing, weirdly. And it's not that I'm just, shouting out YouTubers, but I just think they're really good drawing books and drawing instruction. Like what you would get if you needed to get it. So I would check them out. I'm just adding a little more fuzz to my fuzzy bee. And there he goes. He's got his little fuzz there too. He's got his little stripes. He's so funny. He's so funny. He's a funny fuzzy bee. Maybe a little more yellow. I can rinse out quite a bit, and I might come back to my black. And again, you could just do it with a brush, like with little fuzzy strokes, but I really like this as a way to go.
So I don't know how to translate the comments in chat to a question, but what I'll say is anecdotally, if you're struggling with your grass and don't like your result, walk away from it, come back, and just make that a fuzzy background for your next foregrounds. Because it's just out of focus. So that way you can just layer them, because more layers make for more fun. So don't worry.
Does something. All right, and we get some orange kind of going, and I may come over to the black a little bit. You can see that kind of creates a lighter gold value. And I'm going to come in the center of his little face and add a little highlight. And I'll make the little sort of round areas that'll be his little eyes. And here's the fun. We're going to come right on the toe of the brush. Make a little wiggly, crickly little line. Go. So on your bees, you want them to have crazy legs. They have crazy legs, and their legs are everywhere, and they do all kinds of crazy leg things. So it's okay to have a crazy leg on your bee. I'm going to come in and just add just a titch of black to my wing and some kind of little cellular lines. They're like little windows into the wing. Little motion lines for flight, because he's in flight. Isn't he, though?
He is.
He is in flight. Back into my... Gonna make a nice little shading here. And now that I've got, you know, that extra bit, I'm going to come in with some just yellow. Some yellow.
I love the floofy bee.
Floofy, floofy, floofy. This is like this thing I do. You know when it's my floofy bee. You know it when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
I know when it's my floofy bee when I see it. I'm like, that's my floofy bee.
It is.
Look
your
at
bee.
he's like, I'm the wind in my hair. He really is. He's like, I feel the wind in my hair. I'm gonna get a detail brush, and I'm gonna come here, and I love you.
She is being a handful. I couldn't get her to come over here. She's
I'm gonna
just
add
like
some little reflections to his little eyes. See, makes him cute. Doesn't make him cute.
I don't want to miss this part. It's very good.
Sometimes if you add a little reflections to insects' legs, it really helps too. Makes them feel very insecty. Because insects have very shiny little armored bits. And I can even come in and, you know, just kind of make sure that I talk about some lighter areas in the wing. And that is a fuzzy, fuzzy flying bee. And this is a needy, needy little cockapoo.
It certainly is. She
She's
needs
so
a cuddle.
cute. She does.
Is this a step?
She does. It's a step. I hold her well. It's a step. Maybe that'll be enough holds. All right. So now we get two little ladybugs. And honestly, you could put this in any room you were trying to cheer up. Well, couldn't you? Just like any room you were trying, if it was cold, or you're trying to just make a room feel warmer and you know, your little heart feel better. This is a good painting to do. This is a good one. It's already making me feel like amazing. This is not yet helping Twix. He's just feeling kind of bad. Okay, you could have had me just a bee, but I'm gonna go Ladybug. All right, sweetheart, I gotta go Ladybug. Next step is the Ladybug. We're gonna have a ladybug here and a ladybug flying away. You kind of already know how to do the wing, right? Isn't this good? It's fun. Okay, I'm gonna get some clean water.
Yep.
Because we've been making it messy. Get this out. And I'm going to take my red. I'm going to mix a little black into it. You could also do blue, but in this particular case, I'm going to do a little black. And this is how I'm going to get my deep value.
Where are you going with this guy?
Come right here.
Hold on, let me.
And I'm going to sketch this in. And do a little curved smile. About the size of my fingernail. And bring that back. Sketch that in. Got a little round beetle face. So while black and red do make a brown, cad red and black, when you're layering a lot of cad red, is a secret awesomeness that you're going to love. I'm going to come up here. Right. And I know I've got a little far away flying. Not as close, you know, it's kind of far away. It's flying away. It said, the bumblebees showed up. The rabble-rousers. I can't be here anymore.
I think they do. I think they hang together.
Do they?
I don't think they're like. They don't think they got beef.
They got no beefs?
Yeah, I think one's like an aphid predator, and the other one's a
pollinator.
A pollinator.
Actually, I think all of them are pollinators, but. All right,
But I
so
mean,
we got a nice little. It looks almost like a little pair of eyeglasses going off into the distance. I'm gonna rinse out. The little bug butt.
mm-hmm.
A little bug head. Come down here, do the little bug head. So this is kind of, it goes forward. And he's got the little beetle. I'm going to come down the middle. Our wing color still here on the palette. Woo! Go wing color. Which was a blue, a little black, and we went into our yellow that we were doing for our dandelion. Kind of a nice little. Right? A little more black into it. There we go. Got just a little hint of a wing. We'll hit some white and everything in there, and that'll really help it. Let's dry this so we can do the next layer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There. Oh, no. I guess I had me muted too. Okay, so I couldn't find the mute buttons. Sorry about that. Dry your surface between the layers so you can get the highlights on your ladybugs. And don't forget, check in the link in the description down below. Don't forget to check our website, theartsherpa.com. Sign up for all the cool things that we do there.
Sign up for all the cool things. So I'm going to take my comb again, interestingly enough.
Which one are you working on, top one or bottom one?
I'll work on the top one.
All right.
I'm going to add a little more red into that black and red mixture, and I'm going to brighten it quite a lot. On the edge here. And then go back into the dark mixture. Make sure that where the wing is kind of curved. So we're adding a little shadow around there. And there we go. Looking pretty good. Now rinse out. I'm going to get a little black.
They love the bugs.
The bugs are good. Let's come down to this one.
All right.
Give a little layer of black here. All right. And now we're going to get back into some shading. So I'm going to get into my black and red, some nice shading, right? We're going to say the back, that's a little too dark. But we still want shaded. So we can come towards this back here. Shade them up, shade them up.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to come forward into our much brighter red. It still has a little black in it, so we have a couple more layers of highlights we can get into. And I'm going to feather these two. If you're having a really hard time, if you don't have the grass comb, you can do a, remember this, the other favorite brush to get nice blending?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that blending. So you're good either way, okay, guys?
All right.
The Princeton number 12 round blender. I got a Princeton filbert grainer.
All right. Couple brushes there.
Couple brushes here. That will do a similar thing.
This must be the Jennybug.
The what?
The Jennybug.
What's the Jennybug?
Jennybug's one of our patrons in chat.
Oh! I'm going to add a brighter bit of red here at the top of the wing. You guys see that?
Uh-huh.
A bright bit of like, ooh, look at that red. And on the outside edge there, some pretty bright red. Tap it out here. There we go. Red, 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 red.
You're way up there.
Top it up
You
here.
switched on me.
I did. I'm going to be up here for a second.
All right.
Now, I can even come in and kind of, let me make sure it rinsed out. I can also add some orange to that red.
That'll make it
Little
a
yellow.
fiery red.
Huh?
It'll make it a fiery red.
Well, you can always warm your red. I'm going to get into some details. This is my detail brush. I'm going to come back up here.
All right.
I'm going to get a little of my black thinned out on my detail brush. I'll make sure that we've got a little bit of antennas, because, you know. Space between these two. A little bit of drama there. Outline the little segments of the wings and make sure we've got some.
It is a dramatic bug.
They're all dramatic bugs. Just know that.
Oh.
Give some lays to the back because stuff is happening.
There's a microcosm of events happening.
There is. All right. Now I've got some thinned black. With my detail, this is a number 1 monogram liner. There we go.
Huh.
Little ladybug and the Chat Noir here, right? Get it going.
Is your cat?
No, that's a cartoon.
Oh.
A little bit of whoa drama. I'm gonna rinse out. Get a little bit of white. Same brush.
Oh. You're just using that same, just going from paint to paint to paint, just.
Yeah, man, that's just good. A little bit of reflections on the wings, guys. Makes a big difference in how they look.
It really does.
On the wall. So much. Okay, let's come down and finish up Mr. Saucy Sauce here.
All right. I'm going to take a look at that one real quick. That guy
Okay.
turned out pretty good.
I'm going to come in and get a little of my red. Have a little yellow into it. All right, warm it up a bit. Rinsey rinse. That's the filbert grainer. Again, you could have done the round blender. That would have been okay. A little bit of tiny beetle feelies.
Mm-hmm.
The beetles have little feelies. Maybe a little bit of a weird little beetly leg. It goes out, it wiggles back, and it comes out. I think one of my great joys was finding my first really good bug leg.
Mm.
Because bug legs are one of those strange things that honestly are better expressively painted.
Huh.
They are weird, man. Little bug legs are just weird. Sometimes they stick out in weird places. I'm going to come down the center of the back here. Guess what we need?
More bug leg?
No, we need dots.
Oh, dots.
Make a dot.
Dots are good. I like the dots.
Dots are very happy making. Maybe a little dot right here.
Mm-hmm.
I only partially see that dot. The dot hidden from you. A little dot right here. It's the don't eat me bird. I'm going to make you sick to your stomach dot.
That's right.
That's the one the bird learns real young. The don't eat me dot. Sometimes you have to thin out your brush, rinse it out, and reload because the paint dries on the brush. All right, we're going to make a little double dot here at the back of the neck. You see your double dot?
I see it.
Double dot. All important double dot. Rinse out, very good. Get some white, thin it out.
Jenna says there are many dot configurations on Ladybugs.
This one has these dots.
Those are those dots.
I'm going to add a little bit of a reflection kind of coming back. And let's make sure we pop up some reflections on little bug legs. There we go. Shiny,
Wow.
reflective, little ladybugs doing little things.
Wow, this turned out so nice.
Little flowers. Doesn't it turn out nice?
He's
Isn't
a
it just
cute
happy
bug.
and
yeah, so many
it's
cute
just,
bugs.
this will get you through the winter, man. This will help you get through. This would be a really great get well painting if you've got somebody in your life that you're trying to paint something for where you want to give them a get well wish. This is something I would bring this to a friend in a hospital room to cheer up their space.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of those pieces that when you look at it, you feel healed, you feel restored. Let's sign it.
I think that's a great thing to do.
And come in and get a little of my black. Come down here. Now, I'm going to see everyone next weekend. We'll talk about it so you guys know. And I'm going to alleviate some of your worries if you're here and you're like, man, I really want to do the beginner thing because I want this painting to feel easy.
Yeah.
If you do this November course with me, this painting will feel easy. The 2 hoots will start to come back and feel maybe a little more like 1.5 hoot. Kind of doable. All the 1 hoots are going to be like, yeah, I kind of get it. And you'll know when I rated it wrong. You'll be like, that's not a 1 hoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely 2. Because, that'll happen. All right. So November next, and it's not November, it's October 30th is the intro. This is going to be the syllabus. This is going to be what to expect, what you need, the order and dates when classes are going to happen in November. We're going to have you painting, fingers crossed, before Thanksgiving. You're going to go into, here's my goal. Can I tell you my secret goal? My secret goal is if you do this with me and you're at an American Thanksgiving table, this would be more apropos, but you could do it wherever you are, even if it's not a Thanksgiving table. But I just want you sitting down somewhere for
Canadian Thanksgiving table.
Right? A totally different time frame.
I know. But
wherever you guys are sitting down for a meal and you're doing that gratitude moment, I want you to be like, I'm so grateful I learned to paint. That is my goal. That is the thing that I taped up on my window like Ted Lasso. Like, that's my goal.
To get you guys to paint.
And you guys to feel grateful that you learned to paint.
Yeah.
Grateful that you learned to paint, even though you're a total beginner. That's the goal. So Saturday, tell you everything you need to know, where to find the stuff, make sure you know where everything's located, because that was the thing we learned in Acrylic April was the hardest for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured out a way to make sure you guys knew where stuff is. You have plenty of time to get the materials before the first technique or painting class.
Yeah.
Heads up, it's going to be 9x12 surfaces. You can do paper or canvas. And we're going to be using primary red, primary yellow, primary blue, black and white as paint. I am pretty locked down on the brushes. It's not very many brushes either, so it's just a few brushes. So it's not going to be a huge expense, okay? And you guys are going to have time to get it. There's stuff you've got to understand about acrylic paint, about canvas, and about brushes that we have to do those courses first because every beginner needs to know it. And I want every beginner going in knowing these things. These videos are not going to be long, not like this one, which is so long. They're not going to be long. And we will direct you to the Q&A after each video so that we'll see the video live and then boom, we'll go and I'll answer questions after every class, including the intro class. So if you have burning questions and if you really, really can't wait because you're so excited, you can write support at theartsherpa.com.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I have a goal to just, I don't know, I'm going to teach 100,000 people to paint this November. Let's make that a goal.
I would like to do that.
100,000 people to paint this November. Put that in your wish with me. In your wish universe, 100,000 people learn how to paint this November. Let's go into the holiday seasons being creative and being ready to just make acrylic work for us.
Yeah.
And then, if you sat on the fence for this one, I want you to come back and paint this one. Oh, and you know what else I decided, John?
What's that?
We're going to have an I did it after the series is over party. So we go, I did it. I painted a painting. We're going to do the whole thing. With bubbles and disco lights and the whole bit. It's going to be fun.
Welcome all the new Emoji Chat members, all the patrons, all the supporters. Hello.
You guys will get a special emoji chat for November. So you guys will have a special emoji like you did for Acrylic April for November. Okay. I feel like I've done everything. Guys, go paint this. Go paint it. Go paint it for yourselves. If you're not ready to paint it, I'm going to get you ready by Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. And I want to see you in an easel really soon. Bye-bye.